Hi, everybody. Welcome to another week in Pensado's Place. He's Dave Pensado. I'm Herb Trollick. In a minute, we're going to go down Bowie Lane with somebody who really knows, our guest, Mario McNulty. But first, you guys have just sent so many entries in for the Pensado Fall Free-for-All. It's brought to you by Warm Audio and Groove 3, and we're seeing names from Germany and Japan and Africa and Spain, South Korea, Slovenia, Italy, Australia, Greece, Russia, Argentina, and many, many more. Did you get one in?
City.
Did you get one from Ybor City?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure. I thought you. Thanks to all of you for entering, and we're always happy to bring you real opportunities to win. And thanks to our friends at Isotope, Sonarworks, Eventide, Tascam, IK Multimedia, Leapwing, Audio Sorcery, Rhino Records, and more for their support. Really incredible. And by the way, don't stop. You can still enter and win. You're eligible for the grand prize. Now, more on that in a second. But first, let's announce this week's winners. Drum roll, please. And the winners are, in my best presenter voice, from Mexico City, Juan Carlos. From Las Vegas, Nevada, Frank Richards. And from Sparta, Tennessee, Joey Loretta. Congratulations, everybody. Yay! And you've got real goodness coming your way. For instance, you've got the trio of mics from Warm Audio. You've got from Isotope, Neutron 2. You've got from Sonarworks, their reference 4.1, really good stuff. You've got Eventide's SP 2016. Ooh. You know you like that.
I like every damn thing on this list.
Leapwing, their plugin is up for Best Plugin of the Year from Sound on Sound. You get that. Tascam's Track Factory, you get the recording vocals book with Dave Pensado. We did an episode on that.
And I will show up at your house.
And you'll do vocals for them?
Yes.
An all-access pass to Groove 3's video series. And from IK Multimedia, you get to win the iRig Pro and Gavin Lurson mastering console. Lots of stuff. If you can't record getting this stuff, become an athlete or a librarian or something else, right? Just get out of it.
Or a talk show host.
Yeah, or talk show host. You can replace one of us. But it gets even better. Next week, the grand prize winner gets announced. And as we said, you can still win. It's very simple. Just hurry and go to pensadosplace.tv/fall free-for-all. Get your info in, and you can be a winner. You're still eligible, so trust me, go right away. And then everything gets amplified. That pot gets sweeter. So you get a guest slot on Pensado's Place. You get this amazing, check this out. The Loving the Alien box set from Rhino Records is really ridiculous. It's amazing. There are incredible vinyls sitting here, and there's an iteration where you can get downloads, an iteration where you can get CDs. Our guest is going to talk about it. It's absolutely beautiful and super expensive. Audio Sorcery's brand new D-Mix Pro, and then everything amplified. You get the iLoud micro monitors and Total Studio 2 Max from IK Multimedia, Tascam's Porta Studio and Track Factory, incredible bundles like Isotope's 08 and 2, Sonarworks Reference 4, Eventide's Anthology 11, Leapwing's Dine 1 and Center 1, Dave's book, The Art of Recording Vocals, and a year-long all-access pass to Groove 3, and I'm tired. That's a lot of gifts.
Yeah.
Did they take away the Mercedes? Weren't we including that as well?
Oh, yeah, no.
Your Mercedes.
I didn't know that was part of the prize.
Yeah, we're giving your car away.
It's a pretty nice car.
Yeah, so if you get your entries in, you can win Dave's car, too. You have
and
to clean
Dave,
it up.
Yeah.
Oh, and win Dave, too. While you're entering, do us a favor. Sign up for the newsletter, like and subscribe, and click notify. And we thank you much for that. Just want to make a quick note before we go to the ITL. The Music Modernization Act was signed into law. This has an effect on your income. We're putting together a show on that for the very near future, so stay tuned. And now, Mr. Pensado, what is today's ITL?
Oh, you know it's one of my favorites. I'm talking to you about the 2016. We're labeling it a classic reinvented and revisited. I'm using it 4 and 5 times a mix now.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Let's roll it.
Man, this is a glorious day. You don't know how long I've been waiting for this plugin to come out. I bought my first 2016, the hardware unit, around late 80s, early 90s, probably 90, 91 maybe. And I got addicted to it. I used to love Mick Wazowski's mixes, and he used this on Mariah Carey's vocals, everything, and I wanted to sound like him because he was the best of the best then. And so fast forward, I ended up buying 4 of them, and it took me 4 to keep one going, and they haven't weathered the storm too well. And now I've been trying to get Eventide and the great folks over there to make a plug-in, and they did. Now they've made a previous plug-in that was pretty amazing. There's some previous hardware, the Princeton digital one is pretty amazing. But right now, this is the one for me. So I want to share it with you. I enlisted the help of Nico Hamui and Jaime Estrella to help me with some presets. So when you see a preset that says JE, that's Jaime, and when you see a preset that says NH, that's Nico. So we spent a lot of time getting these presets right, and I want you to check them out. Let me show you a couple of features that I think are very important. This position knob, I call this the money knob. This is where this reverb, in my opinion, really shines. If you've got, like, say, a rapper or a vocal that just want in your face, go here. If you want it to sit in the mix, in here is good. If you want it to really be reverb, put it here. And then this diffusion, what this does is as a reverb sound decays, the tail has more low-end information than high because high frequencies get absorbed easier. And so the higher this number, the more diffuse it sounds. And then down here, you can hear sometimes individual delays, but both have a use. And with this plugin, I rarely go over 4K, and I rarely go below 250. Pre-delay, decay. On vocals, it's not unusual for me to use a 16th note delay, a 32nd note pre-delay, and an 8th note pre-delay. So don't be afraid to run this with a higher pre-delay. I think that's really about it. Here's where you select your presets, and now we've got the original version and an enhanced version. So both of them are incredible. Here's a vocal. This is Virginia Marlowe, solo artist, produced by Chase Marlowe. This is a project I really like. I'm gonna show you this vocal with the reverb on it.
Every thought running through my mind is beautiful, 'cause I only think of you.
Without it.
Every thought running through my mind is beautiful, 'cause I only think of you.
Man, whew. I've been wanting that sound for so long, and I finally got it. I have my real one here. You saw it earlier in the video. And man, it's been good to me. I've had that one for 30 years, and I'm sad to kiss it goodbye, but this is the future. This is the future. I want to show you a couple other things real quick. One of the things that this plugin does so well, besides vocals, is toms and various forms of percussion. Nico put this together. Let's check it out. Pretty good sound. This is with 2016. Let's get a little bit of decay and see what we can do. Like that. Now, when you open this preset up, always remember to check out the room. Now this is stereo room, which is stereo. Room is mono, but listen to that on toms. I've got this on the track itself, but if you sent this to an aux and put it on toms, you can pan the reverb a little to the right and the toms a little to the left. Let's check this out though. Me personally, I like that better. Let's check the new modern version. Ooh, I like that. Good job, Nico. All right, one last thing I want to show you is a synth string sound. So check it out. Without it. Sounds pretty good. With it. You hear the fullness, the richness. You almost feel like they're live strings, and you're in a room with an orchestra. I'm gonna add a little more so you can kind of get the feel for it. Watch how the interest goes away. So that's my baby. That's the 2016 plug-in. I'm so thankful that the guys at Eventide came out with this. I've had it now for about 2 or 3 weeks, and I've been using it on everything. So check the Eventide website. When this comes out, it should be out any day now. When it comes out, download the demo and let me know what you think. This is a really important piece of equipment for me. So see you next time.
Our guest has an incredible resume. Philip Glass, Laurie Anderson, Prince, Julian Lennon. But for the purpose of this week's show, we're going to call him the Bowie Whisperer. Please welcome to our desk, Mario McNulty. Hey, man.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome.
Mario, what's up, amigo?
Oh, I thought you went hip hop and said, "What's up, my nigger?"
No,
I literally
I
thought you did.
I thought that's.
Did you think so too?
Yeah.
I said amigo.
And I don't know. Maybe we should keep this in the show. But
Let's don't.
Wow.
No, yeah, let's. So continuing
Hey, it's a
on,
first. It's a
my
first.
brother.
I don't even know how to spell that word.
Oh yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. But the fact that both of us felt that way
I heard
means
that
our
too.
ears are
Yeah,
working.
you know.
Well, welcome, my brother.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
The amazing thing about a relationship with an icon, and then to be left in charge of some of the legacy of that icon, that comes with tremendous weight, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, and when you are tasked with doing this, I mean, this box set, just to jump right into the box set,
Yeah.
Serious.
is you guys cannot understand. You see all this space, there's stuff there, and it's just amazingly beautiful. And it describe what's in the box set, and then we'll go into what it was to make it.
So the box set covers the David Bowie period from 1983 to 88. I want to make sure I get it right. But so basically all of his content, all of the music from that era is in this box set.
Wow.
So whether you get the vinyl or CD version, it's all there. But there's more to it as well, including the new album that I just completed. Yeah. So that's called Never Let Me Down 2018. Yeah.
So when you have this incredible task,
Yeah.
what are some of the technical challenges to it?
Well, the technical challenge mainly is I'm taking a lot of an old album that's on analog tapes, and in this case it was 48 track, so they had to sync them to get the right transfer, and so that's a process in itself. But then once I got that, I had to go through a process of taking all my sessions and then basically subtracting, and then starting from the ground up on building up a new album with David's vocal.
Wow.
Yeah.
On everything.
On the new album.
Got it.
So the reason why, and this is important, is because David wanted to redo that album in particular. So David, and this is no secret, he was disappointed with that album, and it was in his wishes at some point to redo it.
Wow.
And here we are.
Did you do the original album?
No, I did not. The original album was released in 1987.
Okay.
But when I started working for David, I met him in 01. I started working for him in 02, and it was not a secret even then that he wasn't happy with this album, and it was something that was talked about.
You knew David pretty well, were there?
Yeah.
And so I'm guessing that you probably felt somewhat a guardian for his wishes on the part of this that was put together after he passed. Were there any conflicts that you had to kind of take up for David, or was it all smooth sailing?
It was remarkably smooth, actually. Yeah, I went through a process of choosing the band, which was all mostly former Bowie collaborators. It was actually remarkably smooth. I mean, this never would have happened, obviously, if David didn't want it to happen.
Right.
So everybody was on the same page, and everybody, we all very much loved David, so we wanted to do right by David. And,
What's your favorite album on this record? I think mine's Let's Dance.
It's hard to not say Let's Dance.
Yeah.
Let's Dance is an amazing record.
Stevie Ray Vaughan.
And yeah, I mean, they did an amazing job with it. And hey, it's a Clear Mountain classic too.
And Nile Rodgers produced it.
Nile Rodgers Producer, yeah. I love that album. Yeah.
Me too.
Ricochet is definitely my
favorite. It was a game
favorite song.
changer.
It was, yeah. I think, if I remember correctly, I could be wrong, but that album was nominated for Album of the Year with, I think, Purple Rain and maybe Thriller.
Wow.
So it's like a tough year
What
to.
kind of company was
Yeah.
that?
That's
amazing.
tough. Yeah.
That's amazing.
But it's an amazing record.
David's vocal was always part of his magic. There was something that was haunting but present and sort of ethereal but strong. I mean, there was a... Was that just him, or is it stuff that you...
Well, I don't know if it's something I can explain well, but it always had purpose. Yeah, and he didn't necessarily know what he was maybe even talking about, but it didn't really matter.
Often.
Yeah, and I didn't want to know either. That's just kind of his art.
So you never said, David, what the hell are you talking about?
Oh, no.
No, I
No.
I had a feeling you
Yeah.
didn't.
No, that never happened.
But what was amazing what was amazing to me is...
Man, that was a deep ass breath too. I thought for sure I'd cut him off.
I just went over it. Is how his vocal could sit on so many kind of different genres of things.
Yeah.
I mean, there was always a dance edge, but then he could go off into some space stuff, and then there was the kind of rock alternative. The constant was his vocal and
Absolutely,
him in it.
yeah.
Is that correct?
I agree. Yeah.
Amazing.
He was a good musician, so he had a knack for picking great musicians.
He really did.
Out of the mainstream great musicians sometimes, like Earl Slick, some of those kind of guys.
That's right. I love. Yeah, Slicky's amazing. I mean, he could pick from kind of all spectrums. It could be pretty mainstream, or it could be from avant-garde jazz world. Yeah.
How tall was he? Is he? I can't
so
tell if
he's
he's
a little
really tall.
He wasn't that short. I mean, he's probably about 5'9", maybe, something like that.
He
I'm guessing,
read tall.
'cause he's a little tall, a little shorter than me.
Yeah,
Heels.
I always thought he was tall.
Yeah, if he had the heels on, maybe a little
Who
taller.
was
Maybe a
taller,
little
him or
taller.
Mick?
Oh, David.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, David.
Sure.
Definitely.
Interesting.
funny.
Who are the people in this picture?
Okay, so we got Robert Fripp on the left.
No joke.
That's Robert
Great
Fripp,
guitar
yeah,
player.
and who's of course one of David's. He knew how to choose him. And in the back, I believe, is the assistant. I don't know his name.
Okay.
And David in the middle, and then on the right is Brian Eno.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Piece of history right
Eno
there.
It's a big deal in that history too.
Where'd you mostly work? Was it usually the same studio?
Well, when I met David in the beginning, I started my career at Looking Glass Studios, which
With Philip Glass's studio,
With Philip,
right?
yeah. So I was an assistant for that studio for about a year, and then I met David, and a year later I was working for him.
Wow.
And but we were still using that room a lot, and since I was working also with Tony Visconti, he had a room there, and so we did a lot of work there. But we made the reality album there. So we were in Looking Glass for a while, on and off. Did a bunch of live stuff, 5-1 stuff, tons of stuff. And then Looking Glass shut down. I can't remember. I'm going to guess about 2010, something like that. But even when I did the first song off of this new album, Time Will Crawl, which I did with David in 2008, I did that all at Electric Lady with him. And then the Next Day album I did with them at the Magic Shop, which is where that photo right there was taken.
Gotcha.
So
What was his favorite vocal chain? Did he have one, or did
no.
what did you tend to?
I mean, I had my favorites with
And of course, it included a 1073 somewhere.
Well, for example, yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to miss with that. It's 47, 1073, LA2, LA2A.
And you printed you printed that a lot, which was a no-no in the tape days.
Oh, no, we would print, yeah. I mean, it's with compression, you're not doing serious compression of tape with a vocal. It might be touching a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Tony Visconti role in the Bowie world.
Yeah.
What was it?
Well, he was his producer for various albums, yeah.
Right. So, was he collaborative in the writing process as well? Was that
No.
all David?
David was doing all that on his own.
Okay.
So David would make demos at home, actually. Sometimes they'd just be very basic, but most of the time they're basic, but sometimes he'd have a funny way of making a demo, but it was either him and an acoustic guitar or him and a little keyboard. So, yeah.
And then Tony would build from there, and
Yeah, he'd come into the studio, and everybody would hear the band, everybody would hear the demo, including Tony, whoever the band was for that album.
right.
And they'd interpret it. And he'd say, and he'd give direction, I like this, I like that, or I'm thinking about this kind of thing, or think about Smokey Robinson or something like that. And then off they went, you know what I mean?
Did he have any opinions about the digital world?
No, not really.
He was comfortable with it?
If it sounded good, he was happy.
It was fun.
Oh, okay.
No, he didn't really, it wasn't like he got involved with that in terms of like, oh, that's got to be analog or that's got to be digital. He didn't get involved with that. He just thought, okay, does it sound good, and does it sound good to my ears? Great, and he was happy with that. Yeah.
As you got to know him, did you get a sense of his influences?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Who were the
tons? I mean,
Great
that helped me
question,
shape
Herb.
this album. Yeah.
Like who?
Well, it's funny.
I heard you mention Smokey Robinson.
Well, I think that there's a song on this new album where the chorus is straight up Smokey Robinson.
Really?
Yeah. That's why I mentioned that. But it was so many. I mean, he was such an avid listener of music, and I mean, it's amazing. But the biggest influences that I knew of, and I can't speak for David, but it was like Scott Walker was the biggest one, who was a very obscure artist. And he loved Steve Reich. He loved the Kinks. I mean, it's just, he loved Eno. It's almost so much. There's so much there. Yeah.
He had such a, I mean, this is a compliment. By the way, I'm just enjoying this stuff. There are things in here and books and all kinds
They did a really wonderful job with that. That's the
Shout out to Rhino, huh?
Rhino,
Yeah.
amazing, and Parlophone in UK as well.
All right. He had an urban kind of black thing.
Yeah.
When he wanted to
Totally.
go there.
Yeah, if he could pull that out in a second. Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
completely natural,
Yeah.
never questioned, completely
Totally
successful.
I mean, if you guys maybe remember the Young Americans record,
Yeah.
that's a soul album, and that came out of nowhere, kind of. I mean, he did the David Live album right before that, which was basically the Diamond Dogs album, but on soul.
Right.
And
Right.
and then next thing you know, he makes Young Americans, and it's completely different from Diamond Dogs, So
Wow.
yeah, so that's the new album right there.
Oh, this is.
That's the new one, yeah.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Look at it, beautiful. It's crazy to see an album. You know what I mean?
What's an album?
You said, what's an album?
I never could afford one during the album days. I had to buy 45.
Artwork and great pictures. I'm telling you, it's a fantastic
Sure looks like it.
box. It's
Yeah,
just,
they did a
just
beautiful
fantastic. How did he deal with challenges? Was he a taskmaster? Was his word the final word? Was he collaborative?
That's a good question. I mean, his word was always the final word, yes, but I wouldn't say he was a taskmaster in that way. It was a very relaxed way that he had about himself. You didn't come into the studio and feel pressure. It wasn't like that. I mean, he had an amazing vibe. He was a really amazing guy, and he was really, really funny, extremely funny.
Really?
Yeah, he knew how to make people feel relaxed. It was really special, but you wouldn't think that. You might think, oh, it's like an icon coming in and it's tense. It was never like that. Yeah.
With the sessions, not a lot of people there?
No. That was very bare bones.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Just a musician.
Yeah. It was very bare bones.
Yeah,
on
minimal.
purpose.
How did he communicate with the musicians? Did he give them charts? Was it like a free-flowing session? He taught people parts individually, or
No.
they came up with parts and contributed, or
It was a lot of that. It was a lot of contributions. And in terms of charts, if they were needed, sometimes they would either be done sometimes by Tony if he was producing the session, or sometimes by maybe the music director of the moment.
Yeah.
In the room, so they might help out with charts.
I've got a rather obscure question.
Yeah.
The T verb by Eventide, it's a representation of how Tony mic'd the room for Bowie. Is
right.
that accurate? Is that
It
what
is
really
accurate.
happened?
Yeah, that's right. It's for the
Oh,
Heroes
wow.
album, and for the song Heroes in
Yeah,
particular.
it's a cool reverb.
Yeah, it was a really cool idea. I mean, and the original is...
So where did you really place the mics? Did you place the mics in the back corner?
Tony's version of it,
It was parallel behind him, right?
That's a good question. I don't think it was parallel. But
Parallel's the wrong word, but in line.
Yeah. So it was in a series, and then
Yeah.
a gate in front of each mic to open up the reverb depending on the
Volume.
the volume. Yeah.
What a cool idea.
Yeah, well, Tony gets a lot of credit for that. He did it.
He took all the credit for it, and he doesn't deserve it?
No, he doesn't.
Oh, okay, just checking.
Absolutely. Yeah.
He's an underrated producer from that era. He contributed
He did
a lot
some
of
great
stuff
work, yeah.
and
Amazing.
should be remembered for it. He was one of my heroes growing up.
Did David play on any sessions?
Oh yeah.
All the time?
Yeah.
He was a great sax player.
Yeah, he kind of just, he played when he wanted to play. If he felt like, oh, it's okay, I'll do the keyboard part, or I'll do the guitar.
Oh, look, Ronson.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, that's a great photo. That's with Mick Ronson on the right, David on the left, yeah.
Was that the m.w.a session?
Oh, that I don't know, but that's a great photo. I mean, that could have been any, that looks like, that's a Ziggy haircut, so that could have been.
Yeah. Bowie played sax on that m.w.a on All the Young Dudes. Mm-hmm. He wrote it, you said.
That's right, yeah.
Cool.
He wrote that for him, as far as I know, yeah.
When he did live shows, did he incorporate tracks from studio sessions and so forth?
Like for the reality tour, I remember for that tour, I did all the production for that tour, so I took a lot of stuff from albums and, did the usual, made a bunch of sub-mixes, and they used that, yeah. So
you didn't go out on the road with him, though?
No.
Gotcha.
No.
Gotcha.
No, I just did in the studio for him for when they...
So you were with him how many years?
Well, I started working with him in 2002.
2002.
And then I did the Next Day album, which was released in 2013. And then now I'm here doing this new album. Yeah.
It's amazing. I mean, credit to you for,
thank you.
For somebody to make a decision to put this in your hands. And it's really an homage both to the artist and to you to have that responsibility. I mean, you might not read it that way, but...
Well, it's an album made for David.
Sure.
It certainly is, yeah. So, and I even said to the band, this is kind of like a daily mantra. I mean, if we're going to make this album without David, you got to pretend that he's sitting on the couch the whole time, So,
absolutely.
Because there's a kind of way that you would act when he was there. It doesn't mean that it's phony. It just means that you're not going to be able to put little fiddly bits that you might want to put.
Right.
Pretend he's there. Play like it's something he would want.
During those sessions, was video going on? Was there any?
No.
He didn't have any of that.
He was a very private person. That kind of stuff wasn't going on.
Right. I mean, certainly didn't want to interrupt his privacy, but boy, would those be great things to be able to look at.
Yeah, people ask about it sometimes and say, oh, do you have photos or outtakes? And I say, that is, no.
And even if you didn't show them.
No. We have too much respect for David, and that's not going to happen. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So in the rest of your life, notwithstanding this incredible artist and this incredible artistry, Prince. What'd you do with Prince?
Well, Prince is funny. I'm still in the record world, but I got a call from my friend Pete Kepler, who is kind of like one of the top front of house guys on the planet. And was Katy Perry's front of house engineer for a long time. And he got a call to work with Prince, and he couldn't do it. And they needed somebody very level-headed. So
that's a commentary on something which we won't go into.
It's fine. You're right.
Yeah.
And so he called me and he said, "Hey, I got this thing." And he said Prince, and I was already saying yes, it's Prince.
Okay.
Are you crazy?
Right.
But it was for me to do 2 gigs, to record his tour and mix monitors for an entire tour. And I thought, I don't do that.
Oh Jesus!
It's like I'm not a live sound dude. Like, I'm like, are you sure you want me to do it? And he's like, trust me. He's like, they need somebody that is an adult in the room. So I was like, all right, fine. So I get there, and I ended up doing this whole tour with him. But it was funny because I'm really a studio person, but I'm now on the road recording a tour and mixing monitors.
Which
for
tour
Prince.
was that?
It was a Canadian tour, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, and it ended up in the States, but it started in Canada. So we had rehearsals in Hamilton, it started in Toronto, and we made our way all around. First we went all the way east,
Montreal.
and then we went all the way west, and then ended up in America,
I
in
got
Seattle, and yeah.
But you didn't get stuck in one of those 2-year around the world.
No, it wasn't that long, but it was long enough to get the
gist of it.
Yeah, yeah. I loved it. And I love Prince. But
did you have to wear Edwardian suits and makeup and stuff like that? That was the Purple Rain days.
He got to wear the outfits. Yeah.
No,
it was a trip.
I had friends in the band during the Purple Rain days.
Okay.
And part of their agreement was never be outside without makeup and full dress. Be dressed that way in the morning, up until a certain hour at night, in case something came up.
That's true.
That's exactly right. So they had to get up in the morning, get full makeup, full dress, full hair.
Well, he had a thing where, because they were on what it kind of, I guess you could call a 24-hour retainer.
That's
so
right.
It wasn't just
That's exactly
a retainer for you to play any show.
Yeah.
It was, you're on a 24-hour retainer. So
Yeah.
if I want to play at 3 in the morning one night on a whim, you have to be ready.
There. Yep.
And he would do that.
Yeah.
He would do that on occasion. So, and he did that after many shows.
Yeah,
you know, so it was a trip.
I had a few guys share that with me.
Did
And
that lead to? I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, I was going to say, but with some of the guys, they ended up getting rashes because they were in full makeup all day and the skin wasn't used to it. It's like, I get it. Anyways, you were going to say?
Did that lead to the Nine Inch Nails tour, or was that?
That's funny. Now
Was there a connection?
I think I actually did that first. I did
Oh,
the
you
night
did.
yeah.
Oh, so you had
But
a little bit of experience.
I had a little bit, but I thought that was a one-time thing.
Uh-huh.
It was the same guy, Pete Kepler. Well, actually, Pete was working for Nine Inch Nails. And so Pete Kepler also used to work for David in the early days, and he was an early mentor of mine. He's an amazing guy, front of house mixer now, but amazing engineer as well in general. And he was, well, actually, when I arrived in New York, he was already had a bunch of experience working with David as an engineer, and he had been working with Mark Platty, Reeves Gabrels, and a bunch of people in the David world. But he was a good early mentor, and he's a person who called me and said, "Hey, Nine Inch Nails, I need you for this. You know, Prince, I need so." But I've really tried to stick to the studio stuff, even though I did it. Yeah.
I was wondering if you don't mind, can I maybe recommend a little advice?
Yes.
I mean, Laurie Anderson, Prince, Trent Reznor, David Bowie, Julian Lennon. You probably want to try to get some personalities in your career. Stop working with such mild-mannered, no-name
Right,
types.
I know, right? There's no.
I mean, Jesus, boy, you've learned
There's
how
no psychology
to.
going on there. I know, right?
But that teaches you a whole other part of the game, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And then you had Laurie Anderson, and you knew her husband, Lou Reed.
Yeah, Lou and Laurie. I mean, I love them both.
Right.
Laurie's amazing. Amazing.
But it says a lot about you that those type of personalities with such a strong point of view about their music and the eclecticism and so forth. You can only put that in certain hands and be around certain kind of personalities to do that with. At least the people we've experienced. Do you think that's true?
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, especially some people that are really. They work very specific ways, and you got to know how to work with those, which might be difficult processes.
Yeah.
I mean, you might have somebody who's experimenting on various things throughout the day, and it's very slow. And then you might have somebody who they want to make a decision on the moment, stick to it, and go to A to B right away. And you got to go. You got to do both.
And you're talking music, not drugs. In terms of experimenting.
Yeah. So. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. Well, now we have to sort of test I know you're a Yankee fan, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so I'm not sure what baseball team Dave's a fan of. I think the Lakers.
Oh, yeah, the Lakers.
When I was a kid, it was the Braves, but that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Baseball is a little slow for me now. I like basketball,
All right, so we haven't had a New Yorker for a minute, so tee it up, California.
Well, I got some news for you. We talked and he gave up, so he threw in the towel. So
okay, so we can move past the segment?
Yeah.
Okay, no, we can't do that. Here we go. Let's tee up batter's box.
I'll embarrass him.
Go ahead, fire away.
LA 3A.
Guitar, electric guitar.
Piano.
You might find this funny, DBX 160. Dual mono. Original DBX 160, yeah.
He's a Yankee.
DU model.
That's right.
Okay, horns.
Okay. It depends on the horn, but you got 421s, Royers, and I'm 49s, U47s. And I always
Okay, don't show off. This is just batter's box here.
Parallel, always with a decapitator.
Oh, shit.
And an 1176.
Game over. You want to stop?
I said don't show off.
Yeah.
Okay, reverb.
Currently, a black hole is my obsession. Yeah, and I'm just gonna leave it there.
We're going to step past it. There's a reason why they pointed
even
at me for that, but I'm just going to the audience.
You're an astrology buff.
Oh, that's right.
No, astronomy buff. Okay, I'm
I'll
losing.
go past that.
Subfrequencies.
R bass.
Synths.
H3000.
Favorite mic pre-combo.
1073 or 1081, and going into a 1176. Yeah,
Stereo bus.
SSL, baby.
Live strings.
Live strings?
Not dead ones.
U87s, U47s.
Cool. Auto-tune.
Melodyne.
And the cheapest piece of gear you've used on a well-known mix.
SPX 90.
Yeah, you know, it was the New York Yankee monotone aggressive thing. Like if he didn't do this, he could be an assassin.
I didn't go over this with him.
I could tell. Thank God you did.
No, I didn't.
I'm saying thank God you didn't, because he knocked you out of the box with it. If you
I wouldn't go that far, Herb. I mean,
I was trying
Did
to
you
do a
win
little
one?
Garrig, little,
A little bit?
Mantle, Reggie. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, because it's October,
Yeah.
right?
It's the right season.
Mr. October. Mr.
Reggie,
McNulty.
baby.
good stuff, good stuff.
Shout out to your managers, right?
Joe D'Ambrosio.
Joe
Love him.
D'Ambrosio, he reached out first.
Told you I said
For-
hello.
I will.
All the creative people that you deal with, you should know that from my perspective, the way Jason Elzey and Rhino has dealt with this has just been first class.
They're amazing
top
people.
notch, all the way. In fact, we should do more, I think.
Is Steve
Jason will talk
Lillywhite
about that.
and Hugh Padgham under Joe?
Hugh is. Hugh is, yeah.
Yeah, and actually we talked about that, Joe and I did.
I'd love to have him.
Before we say goodnight, you prepare for that. I'm
Okay.
surrounded by Bowie goodness, by a Bowie whisperer, by an incredible box set that actually you can get in our contest. This is really amazing because it goes back to a time when these things were around more often, and the care and quality that's been given to this
Yeah.
really is the level that David Bowie.
They did an amazing job with it, yeah.
And so did you, sir.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Come back, don't be a stranger, and Dave, take us home.
I'm sitting here thinking about Bowie, and I was thinking about how much of what I listened from him makes it into my work today, and I think it's a pretty big amount. And how does that manifest itself? Well, not so much exactly as he did it, but just an inspiration on why he did it and how he did it. The philosophy behind what he did is more important to me than the actual implementation of it.
Not to step on you taking us home.
Well,
but
you already did.
I think, of course. But I do think this point's important. So many of you guys out there reference older material and other stuff for inspiration, for loops, for samples, for other kinds of things.
I do.
If you want a plethora of things to inspire you, to learn history from, to get the box set. This is a way to get one of the all-time great artists ever, who also crossed genres effortlessly back and forth. So, for referencing material, for your own growth and so on and so forth, couldn't go wrong by doing this set.
I agree
Correct?
100%. I'll add to that. One of my favorite things is not only to be influenced by my heroes, but go back to who they were influenced by, and then you can manifest that through yourself a little easier than coming through the second person. But you can do that with this record. You can go back and see all his influences, and next thing you know, you've got a much wider swath of creativity to choose from, and
Say goodbye.
very
Dave.
relevant. See you guys next week.